In this video, I want to talk about peace. Peace, man. No, I'm meaning calm. I was having this discussion with my brother, and he's a high-level banker, and he was saying, well, you know what? I get paid to be stressed. And I said, no, you don't get paid to be stressed. You get paid to be responsible, which is a huge difference, right? Because I see stress, when you're stressed, you're not making good decisions. When you're not making good decisions, you're doing things you regret. You're not seeing clearly, you're flying off the handle, you're getting squashed by pressure. And you all know that feeling, and it can be at work with just complete overload. It can be that last minute order that means you're going to be there till 9 o'clock tonight. It can be unfair when you can be so right. This is the, you know? Or it can be at home with your kids. You've had a tough day and you come in and your kids are just not doing what you want them to do. Equally, you come in and your partner, blockmates, whatever, they just want to fight. They just want to scrap. And it's, when you're stressed, you're so much likely to jump in, boots it all, and then say stuff, do things that you regret later. The red mist descends, doesn't it? Or the opposite end of things, the anxiety, the depression, the sadness, the panic kick in. So to me, stress is not a useful thing. It's not useful for getting stuff done. Calm, clear, centered, connected peace is. The most valuable thing you can do is to prioritize your peace. So this video is all about peace, calm, and what removes it, stress, and why you want to pay attention to this. Cool. Okay. So you know the scenario very well, right? Here's a guy clearly stressed. You know, I just thought I'd show you a picture in case you didn't know what stress was. By the way, you think you know stress. And you know, I'm talking about stress, small, annoying, stuck in traffic, the printer doesn't work, huge things, divorce, legal proceedings, buying a house, injury, the death of a loved one. You know it. But I don't think we're really clear on how stressed we get. If you're uncertain, ask your colleagues, ask your family. They will tell you. Anyway, there you go. So the important thing to know with stress is it feels like it's the event, the situation, the person. If it wasn't for my girlfriend, if it wasn't for my husband being an idiot, then if it wasn't for the kids, if it wasn't for the boss, if it wasn't for the traffic, if it wasn't for this illness, if it wasn't for that divorce, then I wouldn't be feeling stressed. The event, the situation, the person triggers a reaction in us. That's the way it feels. But I want to consider something. There's always two things. There is the trigger, the thing that we dislike, we would rather not be in our lives. And then there's our reaction and our response to it. There's always two things. Now, which one can you control? Can you control the event, the situation, the person? Not always. And perhaps that's one of the biggest causes of stress, is the feeling like we're out of control. However, you can learn to control your reaction or your response. And I've used those two words differently, because you know, reaction is almost like a triggering. Whereas for me, a response is considered action or considered words. Reaction is blind. You just fly off the handle and you react. When you respond, it's something more that you choose. Is that clear? Two things, always two things, because that's important. That's really important, because you can't control the world, but you can control your internals, or at least you can learn to do it. There's always a gap. The gap is good. The more time, the more mental, emotional space you have, the better, right? The more you can slow down that trigger, the better. Now, what creates a shrinking in the gap? Well, exhaustion. The tricky thing with exhaustion is you don't realize how exhausted you are until often you blow up or you melt down in some way. and the research has shown this time and time again. They've cut people's sleep in half, and they're still telling the researchers, no, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm performing well. Yet their actual performance is way down. By performance, I mean, so efficiency at work, for example, or in your sport, but the level of enjoyment, the level of clarity, the level of ease, the smile on your face, your sense of humor. Exhaustion, look after your batteries, look after your energy levels, be aware of that. It's super important, because quite often we burn the candle at all ends. Maybe we're working hard, maybe we've got a busy family life, maybe we've got a busy social life. But one of the most important things for you to make choices consciously, to the best of your ability, to be that best version of you, high energy is needed. Okay, cool. The other thing, pressure, overwhelm, negativity, and those two mix. Yeah, you perhaps can control exhaustion a lot more than you can control the situations, the overwhelm, the pressure, and negativity. Now, that is as much as what you think about it. Do you know? The actual situation has a weight, but when you carry it in your head, it has a weight too. So your ability to put it down, to stop thinking about it, to focus on something else is very valuable in terms of overwhelm, pressure, negativity. I keep thinking of, say, for example, a legal situation. Maybe you're being accused of something. Maybe you're going through a messy divorce. Maybe you're on a course, a high pressure learning situation where you really want to pass with flying colors. Maybe there's a lot riding on it. Maybe the guys at home, back at base, are like, if you don't pass this, then we have to take on extra work, right? There's that situation. But there's also the situation where you want to perform to the highest ability. And let's face it, we want to do our best. And so we put ourselves sometimes against such pressure and overwhelm. But the key thing is, that's great, but you can't carry it in your head. You've got to learn to put it down. Otherwise, exhaustion kicks in, and then you start reacting in ways that aren't good to you achieving or to being that relaxed, confident, easygoing version of you. Your sleep starts to suffer, right? I think hopefully you understand. But here we go. Because those two things create the stress response, which is a survival, a threat-based response, very, very ancient. Our physiology changes. You've heard of fight, flight, and freeze. So you get ready to have a scrap, you run away, or you freeze like a mouse. Everything stops. And that's classic presentation behavior, isn't it? You're up there in front of an important presentation for your career, or the best man speech, best woman speech, and your brain doesn't work. It's freeze. Your brain works differently. The feeding and fornication are very, very useful because they're survival. So if you ever wonder why, for example, you're stuffing your face full of junk food even though you want to be on a diet, why am I sabotaging this? It's usually because of pressure, overwhelm, stress, exhaustion. Fix exhaustion and you'll fix that unconscious eating. Fornication, same deal. Maybe it's surfing porn until 3 in the morning and you wake up in the morning and go, shit, that was a waste of time. Or, you wake up in the morning next to someone and go, oh, that wasn't a good choice. It's a stress response. It's an instant satisfaction. It's a survival. It's and you could call it the chimp. And that's important to know because the chimp, this reaction, the survival brain, is very emotional, very threat, instinct-based. It's immediate, it's instant gratification, it's fast as well. That gap triggers fast. Now, it's a very useful part of us, but the human potential, what could I do with this? The logical, clear, hey, let's think this through. What is the possibility? What's the big picture? What do I need to do today so I can get what I want tomorrow? It doesn't get a look in because it's a lot slower. So quite often, Quite often we'll respond when we're exhausted, overwhelmed with the chimp. Survival, we just react. The human who sees the big picture going, no, I really want to punch this guy, but if I do that, it has consequences. I really want to yell at my partner, but it has consequences. I'm going to regret it. Your ability to learn comes from the human side of things. That's a creative learning aspect of us. Survival, you're not there to learn, you're just to get through, you know. So you have these two brains. Know your chimp. Know when it comes out. Know the situations. Know the triggers. Because then you can walk into them aware. Now it's important to know that, as I said, that the chimp reacts and you, the human, regrets. It's important to know that we all have a chimp. We all have a chimp. It is not you. You are responsible. You are the one that regrets its behavior, but it is not you. It is not bad. It's just misunderstood. It's true because it's a source. When the chimp feels secure, when you are rested and full of energy, full of clarity, then it's the source of a lot of fun. Can you be too disciplined, too logical? Yes, of course you can. You need to let loose. You need to let the chimp off the leash. However, you need to be the boss. You need to be in control. You do not want the chimp driving. Okay? So get to understand the chimp. You'll get to understand your stress response. You'll get to understand why you do certain things and go, what was I doing? I wasn't thinking clearly, and that's the fact, you weren't. The human wasn't doing it. The chimp that just fires off was. So super important to understand this, because when you have that self-awareness, you can do things differently. Okay? So be a researcher, be a scientist, study, see what causes your chimp to fight, to run away, to constantly be splitting, just giving up, or to be freezing and not truly doing what you know that you want to do or can do in the situation. Super, super, super important. And it gives you, as I said, such freedom to be that best version of you, rather than looking back and going, oh, I did it again. I did it again, did it again. All right. So just to sum up, there may be very little control, but there's always choice. You can't always control the external. And Viktor Frankl, who was in the Nazi concentration camp, saw that. That you can take everything away from a person, but the last of the human freedoms, which is our ability to choose our attitude in any situation, to choose our own way in any circumstance. It's not easy, but you can do it, and it just takes practice, self-awareness. It takes slowing down and prioritizing peace, prioritizing calm. All right? Cool. The importance of rest, recovery, stepping away, charging your batteries. It cannot be underestimated. It cannot be. We plug our phones in every single day. We need to plug ourselves in. And stepping away, what I mean by is physically stepping away, but mentally. Learning, getting away of getting it out of your head. Putting it down. Put it down. You've got to do it. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's a necessity for your health, so you can sleep better, but so you can be with your, if you have a family, be with them. Be with your partner if you have one. Be with your sport or your leisure or your stuff that you love, rather than being lost in your head thinking about the other situation, okay? Be self-aware. Be self-aware. It is super, super useful. Look, research, study, see what makes you tick. And again, to get that kind of clarity, you have to stop. Maybe a journal is a very useful thing, so you can write down and learn from situations. Okay? Cool. I am done. Let's see the next one. Ciao.